I request you to mute your mic for the moment. Should we start now?
Yes, Pratik.
Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Pratik Tiwari, pursuing pharmacy, and I'm delighted to be your host today for special event, alongside my co-host Shikha, pursuing engineering.
Good morning. I'm Shikhar Ballapuri, and we are honored to welcome you all to the 60th Fireside Chat organized by Team Saturday at NMIMS Sherpo in association with Mental Health and Wellbeing Department of NMIMS Sherpo campus. Today's session is titled Mindful Today and Healthy Tomorrow, and we are truly excited to explore some very important topics on mental health. The topics you will be covering are mobile addiction, substance abuse, adolescent relationship, and work stress. Are incredibly relevant to all of us. Now, I would like to call upon Kiran ma'am to introduce our guest of honor, the speaker.
Yes. Thank you, Sikar and Prakar, for hosting the session. And hello, everyone. Happy morning. So, hope you all are doing great. So, we all are gathered here today for the Eve of World Mental Health Day. On behalf of that, we are organizing a mental health awareness session for our campus well-being. So, today we have esteemed guest speaker with us. So, before inviting her, so let me brief a glimpses of her bio. So, Namrata Gupta, she is a licensed clinical psychologist and practicing psychotherapist from New Delhi, with her journey in the field of psychology spanning a little over 2 decades now. She is an alumni of prestigious Institute of Human Behavior and Allied Sciences, Delhi. She works with individuals and groups across diverse age groups across a lifespan. At present, she is consultant with VIMHANS, New Delhi, along with her private practice, reaching out to the clients both domestic and overseas. She has worked with some very prestigious non-profit governmental corporate organizations and schools too, such as AIMS, New Delhi, Hero Mind Group, etc. She is an in-house and mental health consultant and well-being advisor with Mind Diaries Mental Health magazine. Nature of her work ranges from complex clinical work to psychological assessment, psychotherapy training workshops, and interventions heading specialized projects and the teams. And she's also trained in queer affirmative counseling practices and trauma focused work and working with seniors of society on the margins. Intent of her work is enable and focus on strengths, working on lines of social systems, aiming at capacity building, basing on psychological principles and practices. So with this, so she's the one where we can get some inputs through this mental health awareness session. Over to you, Shikar.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We are pleased to have a distinguished gathering today. We'd like to extend a special welcome to our guest honor, Dr. Sunita Patel, Director of SVTM's NMIMS MPTP Sherpur campus. Dr. Sunita Patel holds a PhD in computer engineering from NMIMS deemed to be University Mumbai, a master's degree in computer engineering from the University of Mumbai.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please, we'll start with the flow of the program.
Okay, ma'am, sure.
So good morning to one and all present for this program. I also welcome our speaker for today's session, Ms. Namrata, and thank you, Namrata, for giving us this opportunity to host you and to address the concerns which are very essential today, looking at the student community or the professionals as well. So let me just brief you about our university and the campus. The Narsimha Institute of Management Studies deemed to be University, Shirpur campus is having its history of last 17 years. And at this campus, we are running four programs like engineering, pharmacy, agriculture, and textile technology. Around 2,000 plus students are studying in the campus and supported by around 100 plus faculty members and 150 plus staff members. It is always our focus to bring many more facilities, student-centric facilities for their well-being on the campus. And all our faculty, staff, and the management support is always available for any kind of problem our students are facing. Not only the campus facilities, beyond that, all the academic or the placement or the career guidance related facilities, we are continuously upgrading. But then also in this uncertain world, we are facing many more challenges. Our students are facing many more challenges. We being the faculty members, though we are the mentors, we are the class teachers, we are the heads of the departments or the heads of the institutes or being the director or the hostel director, we all try our best how we can provide the best support looking at the mental well-being of our students. Then also the challenges continue because we cannot always be up to the satisfaction level of the students, and we have a very diverse variety of students who are studying in this campus. They are very good not only in academics but in extracurricular and extension activities. But then also there are problems on the campus, and we want our campus to be a calm, peaceful, and vibrant campus, and that's why even our counseling section also they are trying their best. Even our yoga and sports sections, they are also trying their best. We have a dedicated music room available on our campus. Everyone is trying for the mental well-being of our students and providing them the calm and peaceful environment on the campus. This is the residential campus, and that's why more than 1,300 plus students are staying on the campus. So it is a very big responsibility on everyone's shoulder. But then also, as you are very well aware that all the higher educational campuses are suffering some kind of substance abuse, or there are n number of problems which creates or adds the stress, not only looking towards their career prospect, but there are many more factors which are bothering to our students. Not only the students, even we professionals as well. So I think this is the right platform and this is the right day where you can address all these issues and guide not only our students fraternity but also our faculty members and staff members. And we are very happy to host you, and definitely the kind of inputs you are going to give today and the kind of queries which are going to be raised by our students, and you will try your best to satisfy with the answers. I'm looking forward for this all kind of support systems which is going to be offered today on this International World Health Day. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for briefing me about your campus, the students, life on the campus, your expectations. And thank you for joining with us for the session today. Glad to have met you today. I think I'll try as much best I can do to answer questions today. But yes, like you rightly said, it's not like just one conversation, one discussion. We'll do whatever we can and then take it forward if time allows, or if there's another opportunity. I'll try to suffice myself best today. Thank you for having me here again. Also, it was a delight to connect with Kiran ma'am. I think she's sort of really made me understand what were the challenges as all the faculty and students have been in combination facing, challenging, managing howsoever way. So we'll take this up forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sunita Patil ma'am, for your inspiring words, for setting the tone of this important discussion. Namrata ma'am, we are very excited to hear your insights today. The topics you will cover will be more mobile addiction, substance abuse, adolescent relationship, and workplace stress are incredibly relevant to all of us. We would now like to hand over the stage to Namrata ma'am. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Prateek. We'll start somewhere from the very basics of mental health. All the topics that have been told to me are very pertinent in the times of today, but very diverse as well. And they're like independent topics by itself, but I'll try to do as much justice as I can. The title of today's program is very relevant, as well as I think very deeply thought. It sort of communicates so much by itself. Mindful today, healthy tomorrow. Also, it resonates with the month we are in right now, and otherwise the day-to-day practice we all need to connect with, being mindful and in here and now. This month is October, and your 60th anniversary of the Fire Chat. October is World Mental Health Day. I am more happier to be here for this landmark, so to say, for you people, as well as the month we are in. I'll start with the very basics. As I understand mental health, they are the building blocks of understanding and maybe trying to keep a self check on people around us, or also to sort of maybe address things timely. So, mental health can be said in as many words relating to the emotional, psychological, and social well being of an individual. It is ranging across the lifespan, not a particular age group or a section of society, but for any one of us. And if I may point here, I'm talking about more focusing on mental health and not the limitations or mental health disorders. I'm talking about the well being part of mental health right now, which I would further expand. It affects how we think, feel, act, or behave. It also determines how we handle stress, relate to other people, make choices, healthy choices, how we decide on very crucial points in our life about small and big things. It is very important in every stage of our life, like I said, from childhood to adolescence through adulthood and for the elderly. If I may divide it into major parts, it is thinking, feeling, acting well, coping with life stress, being able to productively work and contribute to family and society. So they're vital in terms of not just my mental health, but also how I am relating with other people. And if I'm being able to do my basic chores to maybe what I've taken as a life goal to the next small decision that I have taken forward. Mental health, as soon as we speak about, often the first thing that strikes in our mind is stress. Stress is uncomfortable emotional experience accompanied by predictable biology changes, physiology, and behavioral changes. So that's what happens inside of us. But stress, as it looks outside, it's change in reactions, it's feeling meltdowns, it's feelings of being overwhelmed, or just having frustration as if someone's coming and blocking my goal, or this is what I want to do, but I'm unable to reach or productively do it for myself. And it starts building up. So all of us tend to respond to stress also in our own typical ways, in our own ways we've seen life, experienced life, how this particular goal or reaching a particular decision is relevant or important to me. So what value does it hold for me? So, and any time it is sort of being blocked by something, it leads to a lot of frustration or painting up of emotions. So being mindful of this, I think, is the first important, seemingly small but massive big step forward. Stress, let's not make it a demon here. It's also a good thing. Understanding that stress is not all bad stress, but an optimal amount of stress is also good for us to be able to achieve our goals. So many students out there, or even teachers, we keep postponing tasks or studying for an exam, doing an assignment, maybe checking mark sheets. I don't mean to be particular about any particular age group or section here, students or faculty, but all of us, time and again, will have some priorities and some we put on the back burner. So optimal amount of stress will also help us to navigate procrastination. The gratification of fulfilling a goal will keep us on our toes and push ourselves to achieve some little target, or maybe studying for exam next morning. I've heard so many students say, I can only function in the last minute. I cannot work before. There's so much on my plate. Like I have been seeing students across campuses in India, a lot of law pursuants, graduates, engineering students, and the stress, the kind of tasks that they go through on a daily basis are massive. But also at the same time, being on a residential campus, I believe has had a lot of support to them, because it has a schedule, it is organized in a certain way. But still, I'm flailing, or I'm feeling it's just too much. So having a person to reach out to can always be a good idea, a friend to reach out to, or maybe at least having some terms or some expectations set with the family members that if so and so is happening, I'm not able to manage, I'll let you know. So something like navigating stress, which I'll keep coming back to through this fire chat for us, how small snippets can be an indication or a sign to reach out, are relevant and important. So, coming back to stress, optimal stress is something we all need to get our goals fulfilled, to have a performance on a certain level. Distress turning to eustress or positive stress is something when we demarcate and function better. If I have to simply put, stress on a certain level helps us to perform. At a peak, it helps us to perform for a certain time. But if the stress remains at peak, the performance as well as exhaustion of an individual will start going down. And it'll be like body is in fifth gear if I'm driving, so to say, if I have to draw a parallel. And I've been driving on the fifth gear despite it not being required by the journey, the road, or the bumps on the road. So what will happen? There might be a fuse, a short circuit, or there might be an alarm, because we have smart cars these days. Slow down, wait. So that's what we need to be cautious of. So students maybe can start keeping a mental check, little reminders around their work desk to not put everything in and anything and everything to the last minute. Starting to do small things, small timings is a good idea. Chief causes of stress can be juggling too many tasks at the same time, personal responsibilities, challenging relationships, peer pressure, a lot of times lack of job security for some senior people. I don't mean to be very specific about the campus, but usually in one or the other form it crops up. Maybe I'm not feeling satisfied, or maybe I want to just have a different role, or I'm not feeling as enriched by current duties and I want something to be added to it. That could be something which is wearing down my spirits. People issues, in fact, if we look at like a big survey, form a major chunk of this section. Almost like 20 to 25% of people issues keep cropping up for us on daily level. Workload, or massive big part of like a pie or a pizza, if we have to say, 46%, or it's a big portion. I'm talking about estimates, because also according to the population or the age group we are talking about, it'll be a little here and there, but largely that's how it is. So juggling multiple responsibilities is roughly 20%. Lack of job security, thankfully, is a small portion, which is about 6 to 8%, which sounds good. So what is mental health issue or mental illness? Let's dive deep into that. It can be defined as a health condition that changes a person's way of thinking, feeling, relating, that causes people distress and difficulty in functioning. So please remember, it is not just like I could not do one assignment, or I didn't appear well in one exam, or one debate, or one activity didn't go as per my expectation. It's a sign of mental illness. It is a multifaceted and a layered construct, which where we have to focus on how am I relating with people and myself on a day-to-day basis. Three chief markers or ways to understand it is the severity, the time, and the duration. Okay, I mixed time and duration. It's one and the same thing. The severity, duration, and frequency. So if something's been going on for a significant period of time and it is severe enough, and it's been often happening, such as maybe I'm feeling sad 1 or 2 days, any of us, it's very common to feel sad. I didn't sleep well last night. I'm not feeling hungry. I'm feeling tired, worn out. Okay, independently, or even two or three things happening one with the other, that's understandable for a day or two. But if it continues to go on like that, and for days together, that's a sign of worry. That's a sign to intervene. So maybe if I am aware of this, I'm mindful that I'm not eating well, I'm not feeling hungry, I don't feel motivated despite being in this course, and I had all my high spirits to sort of be in this program. I can't focus anymore. That's a sign to then know and reach out to somebody. Okay, reach out to your counselor, let a peer know, let a family member know that come, I need to speak with you, but reach out to somebody. A very important part of how I understand things now, much more than I think, and it's very relevant because as across age groups, as I'm seeing, it is a major thing which is stopping people to reach out. It's not just the external stigma, but the internal stigma I carry when it comes to mental health, well-being or issues. Because when it's about well-being, I'm doing all the things right, eating well, exercising, scoring well. I'm super proud of myself, and I will tell people about it. I'll talk big about it. But the moment things are not going into like a normal, so to say, fashion, quote unquote, or swag or cool way, or any of the Gen Z terms for that matter, that's when I think, okay, something's not okay, but the problem's me. So what I'm trying to communicate here is the internalized stigma we all of us feel. Something's off with me. मेरे में problem है. I am not capable enough. The problem and the pressure anyone and everyone else is able to like deal with, but I am not able to. So what do I correct in myself? But actually, none of us know until we ask, until we speak, what's happening within a person, right? It's all like an internal chatter, which on the basis of which we are judging ourselves, and a lot of perception we carry. Perception about my batchmate, perception about my school buddy, perception about the college, your batchmate who's scoring well. उसके हमेशा marks बहुत अच्छे आते हैं. This person is always a topper. But we don't know the internal story. We don't know how this person is managing. Or is it actually easy for them, or how much effort they need to put in? All we are judging is like what is the external result, the final result. So please stop judging yourself with the outside appearances or your mind's inner chatter. This inner chatter can be quite destructive at times when we are tipping towards mental health difficulties, because they start becoming very negative. Like, and I often love to call this ANTS, which is automatic negative thoughts. So acronym ANTS. Like the tiny ants, they start creeping onto us and we don't even know when they started taking over us. So if there is something where you notice a shift in yourself, even a slight, don't let it mull onto you. Speak, reach out, or just start writing at least, so that you will know, okay, this has been going on for a few days now. Journal your thoughts. Read if there is a pattern to it, and then go and speak to a specialized person. A lot of times we hold judgments towards maybe a counselor, a teacher, but we need to break that cycle. If not a particular person or a teacher, reach out to another person. Who to reach out should not determine your seeking help. What is important is that you reach out. So what influences our mental health comes next? There are a lot of three major constructs actually, which have a lot of minuscule constructs adding to it. So I often call this like as a table which is dish-shaped, which needs three sturdy legs to stand on. If it's a square table, it can stand on 2 legs, 4 legs. If it's a very geometric kind of a well-planned table, it might hold weight. if it's been very systematically designed. But what about a table where there are multiple loads onto it? So the three factors which I have to highlight here is biological, societal and environmental, and psychological factors which influence our mental health. So biology would mean physical health, my neurochemistry, my metabolic health, my genetic vulnerability, my hereditary comes into place when genetic vulnerability is of concern, response to certain outside stimulus, that also in turn shapes my biology. Next, if we come to psychology, psychology holds a lot of emotions, self-esteem, my beliefs about myself, the attitude I hold towards myself and other people, temperament, the personality that is shaping onto me. A lot of adolescents are shifting from a temperament to developing a personality. And students, when they enter college, are usually around 17 plus, 18. When we take a drop year or we want to prepare again, give the exam again, 19. So what I'm trying to also say here is the age might vary, right? Coping skills, interpersonal relationships, that's all part of psychology. Trauma, grief, how I see my own self, what's my internal script, that's all part of psychology. So biology, psychology, the next construct is social and environmental factors. My peer group, work, school, socioeconomic status that I come with, the culture, the background of my own family, the family circumstances. Again, interpersonal factors, grief, everything is a common factor here. The lifestyle that that I've lived with. These constructs change and vary according to the person to person. But what I'm judging is the topper and myself. What I'm judging is how this particular faculty is able to perform their duties, or students like them more, but less on me. Why this faculty member has so many students loving them, but so many students skipping my classes? A lot of times these things just subliminally cross our minds, and we don't catch them quite right, but they're bothering us, almost like a background noise continuously buzzing. So catch hold of that. Notice these things. Start writing. At least writing sort of registers it to your mind. You know this is what is buzzing, making noise in my head and bothering me and starting to bother me every day. Early life experiences, adverse life experiences, experiences of physical and emotional abuse, chronic health conditions, chronic stress, biological imbalances, excessive use of any kind of substances for that matter, alcohol, other drugs, which are now very easily available. So it's not just Punjab, which is a drug capital anymore, or the city, but I see so many, I would like to say kids, children actually having very easy reach to drugs. And I just get baffled at times when they tell me such a easily viable place in Delhi where they know where drugs can be found. And I'm like, okay, I have crossed this place so many times and I didn't know this is what's possible. I'm sure you students know the easy reach, or so many students also start taking up these measures to make some extra money or to look cool. But it's actually super uncool. Why? Because it has a massive downside to it. I've seen in my own practice a lot of 20 years old and 25-year-olds who, just because of that one holy party or that one try or that one peer pursuit to maybe start smoking or marijuana, hash, have had massive meltdowns and panic attacks after that. Because my neurochemistry might not be like the next person who you think is often using drugs and it has no ill effect on it. Maybe it doesn't overtly or on the outside have an ill effect on them, or maybe not now. But if something is well known to have a downside or is dangerous, it doesn't change no matter how much you convince yourself. So another important factor in mental health or mental illnesses that's adding is the feelings of loneliness, isolation, alienation that all of us are experiencing. It's not just you students alone, but yes, it gets more severe with students because I get lost in my own world. I think being a student is a full-time job. Parents often say, "Tum karte hi kya ho?" or "What do you actually do? All you have to do is study. You are being provided by everything, and still you are not performing." Oh, they forget the important point. You have so many bosses on your head, not just one. It's a it's not just a 9 to 5 job. It's a full-time 24 into 7 job, and for years together. Also, so many peers and not just few colleagues impacting you. So yes, I understand the seriousness of this job. So you also don't take yourself lightly by saying, why am I not being able to perform? I'm just studying. I have nothing else to do and I can't even do this much. It's not this much, it's actually so much. So don't trivialize your distress or the difficulties or the important tasks that you're doing. Whatever you're able to do today will make a better future of you and maybe your people around you. But right now, let's not take that pressure of people around, of families, but doing what you do one day at a time. That's very important thing. When we are high on anxiety, feeling stress, finding it hard to manage things, everything bombards. It seems everything has to be done right away, right now. That's when very important it is to pace down one thing at a time. Frustration, conflict, and stress is part of the rigid protocols, assignments, duties, and responsibilities, but we need to identify them in time. Determine what is bothering me right now, the length of time, the severity, and the persistence. This is where the teachers can also jump in. See if a child, if a student has been missing classes all of a sudden, is unable to fulfill the commitments to assignments, is lacking motivation, or there is distress that is visible. Let's at least not miss the visible signs. When this student used to be very chatty and always entering the class with a smile on their face, now has a droopy face, or is not talking to their peers, or started withdrawing. This can be identified by any student, any friend, or the teacher. So don't miss these signs and report to a specialized person so that they can determine if this is actually something which is one experience or something maybe in passing bothering this person, or this is something which has been going on for a while. So reaching someone out like Kiran ma'am and her team would be a great idea. Don't shame yourself or your friends. Internal stigma as well as outside is a big no-no. It's uncool. Yeah. I would like to focus on certain signs and symptoms so that it sort of sticks with us for some time and it can be easily at least looked at. Physical signs and symptoms. Also, before I sort of share these with you, I would again repeat the severity, the frequency, and the time. How long have these symptoms been continuing is important to not miss. Here and there, I've missed a meal or a lunch, or not speaking with a friend for a day or two, or I'm not sleeping because I slept late or woke up pretty early. I'm feeling irritated. Is not a sign of mental health issue or a mental illness. But yes, if it's been continuing frequently and for long, that is a sign of concern and reach out to a special professional. Okay. So some physical signs: sleep issues, low energy, aches and pains, change in appetite, change in weight, too sudden a change. Thought-related issues that we can focus on is decreased concentration, forgetfulness, thought jumbled up, thoughts of harming oneself just coming out of nowhere. And you think, what's happening with me? And I don't want to do this, but this thought keeps crossing my mind. I don't know a better way how to deal with this anymore. Please reach out. speak with somebody. Ruminations about the past, something which has happened years ago, but it's like circling in your mind time and again, and it's bothering you, bugging you. That's a sign to take care of. Okay. Emotional signs and symptoms could be easy irritability, reduced interest in activities, mood swings continuing for long. I feel happy, but suddenly I feel down in the dumps. And there's no reason, there's nothing which is bothering me, but I'm feeling this way. Hopelessness, feelings of guilt which are overpowering you, which might be amounting you to start cutting off from people, or you not going to home on a vacation, maybe because I'm not performing well and I owe this to my parents, something like that. Or there's so much of loan I've taken as a student and I'm not doing as much I am required. Any thought, any guilt, out proportioned is a sign of concern. Anxiety, restlessness, fear. Continuous fear can be called as anxiety by itself. The other name for fear, which is clinical enough, is called anxiety. So don't miss that sign, okay? Behaviorally, also, if one started withdrawing, like I said before, yelling, shouting, snapping very easily, avoiding activities or situations, risk taking behavior increases. Betting on things increases, substances out of nowhere increases. That's an alarm sign. Don't miss that out. Mental health conditions have a huge range. I don't think we need to go into that right now, but depression is just one of the many mental health conditions or mental health disorders. It's very easy for people these days to say, I'm depressed. There's a difference between sadness and depression. So let's not feel depressed if you're not. Let's start wording our emotions, right? I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling low. I don't feel nice today. I feel down. Something's bothering me. Not everything's depression and not everything's anxiety. But yes, if it is, there's no shame. We need to treat it. And there's a range of treatments available. Okay. Early signs to look out for, I would just repeat myself here, but I think it's important to repeat. Feeling sad or down, confused thinking or reduced ability to concentrate, excessive fears or worries, extreme mood swings, high or low, withdrawing from people or missing classes, significant tiredness, low energy, problem speaking, something like feeling unreal, disconnected with oneself, which often shows up as the first sign, detachment from reality, feelings of paranoia, inability to cope with daily problems is what we need to look out for. Treatments available can range from counseling, from reaching out to a psychotherapist or clinical psychologist. Psychiatrists are also a good reach out, and reaching a psychiatrist or a clinical psychologist is not something to be shamed about. A lot of mind and body processes, a lot of mind and body therapies are available, such as Sunita ma'am mentioned, yoga is there on the campus itself. It helps to sort of integrate ourselves together to start somewhere. A lot of breath work that we do helps our nervous system to be regulated better, to be grounding ourselves, to remaining mindful. So it's good to not skip that. Go for that. Drumming, a lot of music is grounding on the basis of bilateral effect on the brain. So right and left sides of the brain, as we know. So what I do with the right hand affects my left side of the brain and left to the right. So walking, in fact, is a great bilateral balancing for our nervous system, which helps as a very regulating function. It's not just for cardio, but also for grounding ourselves. You can do that. So what not to do? Let's jump into that. If at any point someone wants to pitch in, have a question at this point right itself, I'm happy to take that up. Otherwise, we can go in the format we are going.
Thank you so much, Namrata ma'am. for sharing such valuable insights on mental health. We will now move on to the question answer part of this, the interactive part of this session. And I'd ask Prateek to ask the first question to you. Over to you, Prateek.
So, ma'am, it is quite common to see in the younger generation how much are kids addicted to their phone, and parents are not able to deal with it like a healthy manner. So, you can please suggest the parents and can rest of us some healthy ways to cope up with the phone addiction, because this is very common thing which happens.
So one of the most visible addictions these days is addiction, internet addiction, phone addiction, or being attached to our devices. But less visible or identified addictions are binge watching, binge eating, excessive smoking, um, a lot of having a lot of cups of teas and coffees. Oh, this helps me stay awake. Red Bulls are something I need, or I don't know if there's another version of what's available around, or what you people maybe are making available on campuses, but that sugar rush that I need. So all of these also need to be seen, if these are being carried on excessively, are forms of addiction. They are identified, classified internationally as addictions. But coming back to your question for now, bile addiction is something which needs to be curtailed. Small steps that can be taken are, first, to actually tell to myself that yes, I am overdoing it. At least admit to yourself. That's where we start. Know that I'm not able to put my phone down. So many people now take phones to the washrooms. It's very hard to find a person without phones on their hand. Even in pictures, for that matter, if you would have noticed, no one's without a phone, especially women, since they don't have pockets, all their pictures are with phones. So there's so many apps available now which actually help you lock your phone. That could be one technical aspect, one technology in a healthy way, helping us to deal with the ill effects of technology. That can be something which is very out there, available, and easy to use. Another is make yourself, make rigid windows for yourself to not use and use the phones in the school or in your university. I mean, there have to be allotted places where phones are not allowed. Stacking phones can be one fun option that friends can do when you all are studying together, going out for a meal. All of the phones can be kept on top of the other, and whoever picks up their phone has to treat everybody else. So this can be like a fun game, but also a deterrent for all other people. Okay, next meal it'll be like so many of us, and I'll have to pay a bill for everybody. So stacking phones, keeping phones in the downside with the back facing you is a good option. Switching off the vibration and the tone will help you keep yourself away. If you are not able to control yourself, send your messages to your friends, to your girlfriends, boyfriends, your family, that don't send me a text or a message around this hour, because I tend to then not be able to keep my phone back. Start somewhere, anywhere out of this. Or give a friend your phone and say, I'm not able to control this. I'm not feeling very nice admitting this to you, but please keep my phone with you. Okay? At least find somebody to confide into and take help, take their support. Okay? Taking support is not a bad idea. Also, curtail the kind of apps, and as many apps you have on phone can be limited. A lot of apps, imagine, so all the phone problems and the facades are because of the multiple apps and how jazzy they seem to us. So addiction for mobile is because it stimulates dopamine areas of our nervous system. So that instant rush that we need is what stimulation this phone screens and these apps provide us. But then they also start weaning down, and they have a circular effect on our neurochemistry. So it's not simple just a behavioral problem, but it deeply is ingrained in our nervous system, the circuitry of the brain. And obviously all these people who are working behind the industry know these things, and they're designing because of the money involved, right? as much app I use, someone's been getting paid for that. So you're affecting your own self to make somebody else make money on your cost. Imagine. So who's actually paying a bigger cost here? You, monetarily as well as depleting neurochemicals of your brain. Yeah. I hope that answers you.
Yeah, that was very insightful, ma'am. The next question that I'd want to ask is, what are the most common issues that people present you while seeking help? Like, what are those common problems like you see now, like for today's youth, as when they seek for, counseling?
Yeah. A lot of children, a lot of students, young adults around your age are coming up with relationship issues, with difficulties to get along with friends or feeling alone, difficulties with being able to concentrate, or sadness, a lot of loneliness are typically what are showing up. A lot of anxiety issues, panic attacks. Before that maths exam or before that computer sciences exam, I'm not able to study and I might fail. Those kinds of fears. Or my family is not understanding me. All of these issues often crop up. But of lately, if I have to say something which has been most often showing up is feelings of alienation and not being satisfied with one's own performance. So that sense of constant comparison is actually affecting our youth so much. So loneliness and that constant sense of comparison is affecting mental health of the young India.
Thank you, ma'am. That was very insightful and like talking about the exam anxiety. I can relate to that. Shortly, I'm having my exams. I would like to ask you another question. What do you believe is the most important factor in successful therapist and client relationship?
Therefore, if before answering that, Pratik, can I ask you, and I don't mean to throw you off here, anything which has been bothering you of late? In fact, your friend can also speak. I cannot see him. So any one of you or in your group, yeah, Shikhar here, sorry. Any problem one of you or your friends have, you can also say that friend has. You don't need to name. That's been bothering you people.
Yeah, ma'am. I feel like my friends get, like overthink a lot and like they just, get all, they get scared over small things like as basic as I can't do my assignment today because I have this problems and, they just overthink a lot these days. That is what I feel. And that is the issue that even I'm facing at some point. I overthink a lot, or even on the small issues.
And thanks, Shikhar, for actually speaking and sharing. For small issues, and overthinking is one typical sign of increasing anxiety. But then overthinking also leads to a lot of other issues like not being able to eat well, sleep well, or further meltdowns, irritability. I hope you, amongst your peers and everybody, have noticed. So, overthinking can lead to bigger panic and anxiety like issues. It's good to speak with the clinical professionals or the counseling professionals about this. And you've rightly hit the nail on the forehead, I would say. Overthinking is a high presenting complaint that I've also seen because a lot of expectations underlining overthinking, or a lot of fear and probabilities what may happen. So a lot of shoulds, musts, that we put pressure on ourselves with, I should be able to do this right away. Why am I not completing this task in 1 hour? I must be able to score better. Those expectations weigh a lot of weight on us. So maybe identifying the shoulds, musts, do's, and don'ts can be one way to keep ourselves in check. Why should I do it? Why must I complete it in half an hour when actually this assignment or task requires like an hour? So maybe we need to learn better to manage our time, or to have right set of expectations according to this task in hand. It's not about me, it's not about the task, but am I actually managing the expectation of this task well? Something like that. So, yeah, coming back to Prateek's question, a lot of therapists have a different way of holding therapy. Some people are more reflective while they are in the therapy session. Some therapists, some clinical psychologists, other are more quieter with insights and reflections they like to share at the end of the therapy. And some are more like a venting space for you, like they hold space for you. But most importantly, if I have to put myself in this place and think, I think reaching out to a mental health professional ought to feel safe, ought to feel that, okay, my whatever I speak with this person will be kept confidential. They will not leak it out to other people or to other faculty or teachers. That kind of confidence needs to be there. So even if I feel this person's, because none of us professionals can completely keep our personality out of the therapy room. There will be a certain therapy and personality match. So certain students would like a more vocal therapist. Others might like a little more subtle and just like a empty vessel for me. So that's how you can see if this working well for me. But at least give any mental health professional a chance for 2-3 sessions to understand if this person is who you are comfortable with. Also, another big factor these days is it's always been there, but it's more informed now because awareness of mental health issues has increased, thankfully. But sadly, I have to accept the right help being available is massively reduced. The right person, a qualified professional, is hard to come by because the demand and the supply are on a huge mismatch. So reach out to a qualified professional, a person who has experience. So to you young people out there, there's no harm asking this professional as to what their experience is, what their qualification is, have they dealt with these issues, do they feel comfortable if you've come with a certain issue. And I think then it's the onus of the professional to respectfully um, guide you further on it. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, ma'am. And I would like to add another question. What are the warning signs of substance abuse that may indicate a need for mental health intervention? Like, I'm a teenager, as we were talking about depression, stress, and anxiety, people look for an escape in that time. And for escaping from the situation, they go for the substance abuse, so which is called like their comfort zone. So, what are the warning signs like that?
It's a very important question. Thanks for bringing it up, Prateek. Substance use, the most important thing to look out for, or it could be a self check also, is that over a period of time, there's an increased need of it that I require to have that kind of escape, that kind of a kick, which maybe I felt for the first time. No matter what, I'm not able to disconnect or disengage with the substance. The substance could be anything. It could be sort of the humble cigarette or alcohol. I'm saying it humble because sort of they're legalized and very easily available, but they're not at all humble. They have as much a downside and long-term consequences. But people think it's just a cigarette, it's just something I'm smoking, it's just tobacco. What's the big deal about it? Everyone takes it. That's why they are sort of portrayed as very innocent, but not innocent. And yes, like you rightly said, these are used as escapes. So the underlying issues could be overthinking, a lot of pent up emotions, difficulties, decision making difficulties that I'm not able to navigate. And I'm finding escape in these substances. So some factors that can be looked out for is increasing use, increasing need of escape, finding it very difficult to stay away from the substances, person, despite the increased use, not being able to accept to themselves or ourselves that I am getting dependent on it. That's a big sign by itself. So that I know it, but I'm finding it hard to accept it to myself. That's the that's the most important sign, I would say, which where friends and family can pitch in to sort of bring the insight that look, you used to take one cigarette or two cigarettes, smoke one or two cigarettes a day, now it's become five. Or social drinking is now shifting to daily drinking. Recreation or just hanging out with friends is now shifted to me drinking all the time when I have an exam tomorrow or when I'm feeling sad. So I'm feeding into my emotions on basis of substances can be looked into. So detaching is one important bit where I'm not able to detach, and I know this is causing problems. I hope that helps to answer your question.
Yes, ma'am, that was very helpful. But the next question is if someone is leaning into, all the substance abuse, how can one prevent it? Like, what are the steps to, just, hold him back, hold himself back? Like, because I've seen a lot of my peers or a lot of teenagers, they are like, leaning towards it as it seems cool to this generation. How can, like, one get away from it? Are there some, some kind of method to, just get away from it? That's all.
Uh, I have a particular client in my mind right now when I say this who's having difficulty with weed. And it's been going on for some time, but each time this person comes to me and she or he would say, I have it in control. I know how to manage it. It's just right now. Or when I have to appear for that interview or that campus placement, I'll stop taking it. So denying oneself the actual gravity of the problem is adding more to it. Is something that I wanted to focus on. Now, coming back to your question, I think taking the step forward and meeting a mental health professional is most important bit because it's not a test of your willpower or part of your self control. Yes, self control is important. It will be required once you start taking requisite steps towards curtailing the substance in question, but it's not a game or it's not a challenge of your self control all by itself. A lot of people think meri kami hai, it's my weakness, only I have to do it by myself, but there's so many factors involved in here. So please reach out to a mental health professional because a lot of times the underlying emotion, the underlying conflict, or the sort of deficiency I'm perceiving in myself or my circumstances is triggering my substance use. So what just started as a recreational activity is becoming increasingly I'm becoming increasingly dependent on it. So don't take it as a personal sign of weakness or willpower. Take steps forward, keep the substance off, reach out to a mental health professional. It's not a battle or it's not a struggle you have to fight or win by yourself alone. And you have people, you have professionals on your campus. So please reach out.
Thank you, ma'am, for that thing. And I would like to ask you another question. Like, what are some misconceptions that about mental health that you have encountered in your experience while handling the patients?
The biggest misconception is that it's just a few days, it's just for now, or the person's acting out. या ये drama कर रहे हैं is what people perceive around. So a lot of stigma that gets attached. People think that okay, am I like we start questioning our own selves. So that becomes like a battle more deeper. So misconception is that it's permanent illness or it cannot be cured. Or if a person is in a particular state, there is no recovery out of it. There is treatment available. There's a lot of help out there, specialized help there. Another big misconception is that medication or the route of treatment is never ending or medications make us dependent. I know a lot of genuine doctors, a lot of people in the fraternity who genuinely don't want to, or who have the best interest of the clients or the patients in their mind. They just want to treat them for the right time, and then slowly taper down the medication or the treatment and frequency of it, and enable the person. Like I, for myself, being a clinical psychologist, I don't want a student or a person approaching me to be dependent on me for any and every aspect of their life, but it is about enabling them, um, having their own strengths becoming more at the focus of their day-to-day lives, helping them resolve their own emotional conflicts in due course of time so that they can manage their life by themselves. I don't want them to keep coming to me for their entire life to manage their own situations, but enabling the people. So, biggest misconception: treatments are never ending, medications are dependent inducing, medications bring us more harm than good. Mental health is like a person going cuckoo or bonkers. It's none of that. The big question that I'm throwing out there is, we often say, ye pagal ho gaya hai. What is pagal, by the way? I mean, who defines what's pagal, no? So it's just about my emotions, my behavior going up and down. There's nothing which is like mad, pagal, cuckoo. Seek help, approach steps with professionals, you can make a change. So, yes, instead of looking up on Google about side effects of treatment or side effects of medication, we never put like benefits of taking treatment or benefits of medication. We just go on looking for side effects. So, please curtail, especially because students and all of us are going through a spiral down right now. There's so much happening in the world, overthinking and insecurity so much. Anything searching on artificial intelligence now, AI or Google, is only leading to downward spiral. So instead of Googling things, reach out to people who are available to support you in the process.
I've been through this. Like whenever someone talks about any issue and we say you should consult someone, their first reaction is, "I can handle it myself. It's just a small issue." So it goes like that. And ma'am, there's this question. Mental health is something that is just as important as our physical health. And it's only recently brought to our attention, yet in India, it is still quite common that people neglect it, the importance of this physical health over the mental health. Can you please, why does it still happen?
Um, a little snippet into my journey would help me answer this question a little better, put things in perspective. So when I started my journey in psychology around the early 2001s, 2002s, I'd come across a WHO survey, World Health Organization, which said by 2020, mental health issues would cross cardiovascular issues, or deaths caused or illness caused by cardiac issues, respiratory issues, blood pressures, and all of that. And that was an alarming statistic that I'd come across. Somehow I could not forget. Somehow I could not forget that over all these years. So if we come to today, I think COVID has made a massive difference in how people have started perceiving mental health and making it more accessible and visible. But yes, when it comes to our inner faculties like psychological health, emotional well-being, it's not very visible. That's why people don't pay as much attention to it or stigmatize it, because we think the person's not doing enough or I am not doing enough. Like the test of willpower, no? But if, okay, if I have like a visibility issue, if I have like a eyesight problem, will I say my eyesight will adjust itself by just focusing on something, or it's willpower of my eye muscles? Like I being in school, I remember I didn't have like a spectacle ever prescribed to me, but my eye muscles were weak. So my parents didn't say, come on, your eye muscles can strengthen itself, or it's willpower. I know I'm exaggerating it, but that's how it was. I had to go to the hospital and sit on those machines and exercise my eye muscles, which was a foreign concept to me before. So likewise, and I will take a prescribed spectacle if it's told to me. It's not a test of willpower. Just because it becomes visible, it doesn't become more normal, right? So I think what's important now is to question what is actually normal. If out of every 10 people, 2 to 3 people are experiencing mental health issues at least once in their lifetime, that's a big number. Let's normalize that mental health issues are as much part of physical health. So if I have a foot injury, I will not run a marathon, right? I would want to heal it. I would not, we all are not Milkha Singhs. And also what we see in the movie is also an exaggerated or a pictured version of it, right? A lot of it is also creative uh, portrayal of things. Even Milkha Singh knows that, right? So at least let's not put ourselves that pressure to test our willpower. Give equal importance to mental health. So if my iOS or my Android system is not working, will my phone be of any use? It'll just be a box, right? It'll just be like something non-working. It'll just be a dabba. Likewise, my software, which is my nervous system, my emotions, my biopsychosocial part of the brain and my life, the biology, the psychology, and the social, if they are being affected, my physical and mental health both are being affected. So let's give it equal importance. Just because it's less visible doesn't make it less important. In fact, it gives it more importance.
I think Payal ma'am has a question to ask. Payal ma'am?
Sir, there is a question in the chat from Dr. Praveen Loharkar, sir, and I think that question we all as faculty members would like to ask. So I'll just read the question for everyone. So he has thanked Namrata ma'am for the wonderful session, and he further says, can you please give a tip or two to all of us who also play a role of faculty mentor or local guardian to all those students who are away from their family and want to help them improve on their mental well-being and academic performance in general. So ma'am, could you please take this question and respond to it?
Thank you for bringing this up, ma'am. It's very vital, like all other questions, but it becomes even more vital because there's so much of a care and reachability involved in this question by itself. So what I'm noticing is that help is available, but we are hesitant either to offer it or to avail it. Like a lot of times, faculty members feel unsure of how to sort of deal with a sensitive issue or what the child is going through, or the student by themselves don't know who to reach out to. So refer the student to the counselor, or be available yourselves for care. One big gap which all of us together as a fraternity need to overcome is the mental barriers. So with the Gen Z in question now, or even millennials, right? A lot of teachers will be millennials also here. There's a lot of difference in the kind of life stressors or the expectations that we are coming across. So the faculty members need to also look at the world through the eyes of their students, not to just see ye naye problems hai, or this social change being perceived as all ill, but actually also a lot of positive sides are there. Social media is also connecting the world in a very different fashion. So looking at the upside together and building a barrier, breaking a barrier and building a bridge is important. So that so one thing which was very concretely on my mind was, like, often I have seen on campuses 12 p.m. deadline or 12 a.m. deadline rather being there for assignments. So something which on a very technical level can be a shift is like an afternoon assignment deadline or an early evening timeline um, for the faculty members to give students as an assignment, because
Okay.
otherwise it spoils the whole biological clock of the students and puts them under duress through the day and until the midnight. That could be one thing. Another could be how you word your sentiments to students, how you see their problems. That needs like an upgradation for all of us. Am I available for the students? Am I seeing from what level they are coming? I'm expecting them to sort of mature up. But am I actually seeing that they will have their own journey to mature up? For young adults, their frontal part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is developing. So, very neurologically, also neurosciences basis, also, they're now learning better to sort of make better decisions, conflict resolution, and other such executive functions. Can I handhold them? And each student will be very different. So I need to get down to the level of this student that I am looking into, their side of problems, and taking them forward from there. So building that bridge. I hope I'm able to answer your question.
Ma'am, we understand you have some other commitments, and therefore, just last question. Myself, I have a question to ask you. I easily get angry when somebody hurts me by saying something. Is this really a problem with me? And I think a lot over it. Being a professional, if somebody says something to me, I may or may not have done that. But I think upon it instead of answering or reacting to the situation on the same point at the same point. I just go on thinking about it at back of my mind. That basically troubles me. Is this really a problem, and how to come out of that situation?
Thank you for bringing this up. Anger or irritability is a strong emotion, but nevertheless an emotion where you're expressing yourself or you're curtailing yourself to express. But if it is happening often and it is bothering you through the day, I think that can be looked into further. Also, there are certain coping techniques where we breathe, we take a step back, distance ourselves from this individual or the problem, give ourselves the time to cool down, regulate our nervous system better, regulate myself better, and then address this issue. Obviously, it's easy said than done, but this is like a little one sort of an approach that we can follow. Another time when we are feeling really irritated, what really helps is to hold on to something tangible. Hold on the table, sit with your legs crossed, and keep a fist strong so that it helps you hold yourself and be present in mindfully in the moment. Something maybe you can try exercising and see if it helps. But I'll be happy to take this up separately from the group. I don't want to cross question as to how this is turning out to be maybe a difficulty or challenge for you. But I'm open to talking to you separately. I mean.
Thank
But
you.
yes, if it's happening on a frequent basis, its severity is too much. It is stopping you from functioning effectively. You don't have to answer the question. That's how you would know if this is a question. These are yes. Then that's something you need to look into with a professional for sure.
Yes, over to the hosts.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Uh, Thank you, Namrata ma'am, for addressing our questions and providing perspective on mental health has certainly given us a lot to think about. And
Sorry, I'm not able to hear.
Shikhar, you are not audible. Shikhar and Pratik, please go ahead with vote of thanks.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Pratik, please.
Thank you, Namrata ma'am, for our deep insight on each topic. Your perspective on mental health has certainly given us a lot to think about. We would also like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Sunita Patil, Ms. Kiran Ma'am, the Dean, the Associate Dean, faculty staff, and of course our amazing students for being part of the session. Lastly, thank you to the team Saturday 10 a.m. at NMIM Shirpur and faculty mentors Dr. Payal Dande ma'am, Professor Harshal Kotwal sir, and Dr. K.V. Patil sir, and the Mental Health and Wellbeing Department for organizing important session. We hope today's discussion leaves a lasting positive impact on mental well-being. We look forward to seeing you all for the next Fireside chat. Until then, stay mindful, take care of your mental health. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am, again.
Can we ask everyone who can switch on the camera so that we can take some screenshots?
I would request everyone to turn on their cameras.
The participants, if they can switch on the camera, please switch on. We would like to take some screenshots for this session. Are we done with it? Shikhar?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so we can end the session.
Yes. Thank you, Namrata ma'am. Thank you, all of you. So with this, I declare that the session has got over. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thanks again. Bye. Wish you a good day. Bye.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Um,
Bye.